started a bit more than 12 years ago, and we're operating platforms with high value transactions. I'm not sure that we can still be considered as a startup. We do tens of millions of transactions with Impulse, which is basically doing all OTPs here in Luxembourg for financial institutions. We're also doing the operations for DigiCash, that is a mobile payment initiative connected to banks, retail banks account. And more recently, a bit less than a year ago, we started Finologee, which is, once more, if we want to put a label, more in the RegTech part. So, Nasir mentioned API being one of the buzzwords. I fully agree. And to make it more something that you can see is easy to understand, I would say that APIs are more like to be seen as Lego bricks. That makes it easier for everyone, even if you're not a techie. So Legos, basically, these are Lego bricks that we're providing. We have 4 of them. APIs to do KYC products, to help financial institutions manage their onboarding, but also the updated lifecycle management of their documentation, onboarding, and so on, and information around their existing customers. The second part is around payments. I think that you had a very in-depth presentation of PSD2, so I probably don't have to explain what it is, but I'll go a bit further in what we do. And then the third thing is around messaging, because a financial institution still has to interact with clients, and you have to comply with regulation also for that part. Platform, I'll go a bit more into details about that. The marketplace, so if we go with a comparison of Lego bricks, what is it? Basically, it's to be seen as a big box of Legos, and as a financial institution, we've got to make sure that you can use these Legos to build your own products. So that's the idea, providing an environment, a compliant environment, together with some partners, for you as a financial institution to be able to consume these APIs, to build some, and potentially to expose them to, so that you can not only do cost killing, but also potentially generate new revenue streams. So just to give you an example of what we did recently together with Société Générale Bank and Trust, we're using this FinTech Acceleration Platform environment, and this is a nice example of collaboration there. I think together with Clearstream, which is basically providing the technical environment, we're providing the APIs, and SocGen is inviting startups to enter their lab, the Plateau program, and also develop new products, new things that are valuable to the bank. So this is one example of collaboration around a marketplace. If we look more specifically to KYC products, first example, if we're talking about onboarding, how could it be managed that way? In a very efficient, we talked about cost efficiency, but also making sure that the financial institution can rely on this partner. So what we did is divide it in different aspects of the onboarding. So there's the identification, authentication of the either individuals or corporates, and then instead of building a brand new tool, just aggregate, do the due diligence also of this provider to make sure that the financial institution is fully comfortable with using that. So you've got video identification, you've got automated solutions, and so on. Then, indeed, all your clients are not low risk, so if you go towards higher risk clients, then you can do additional checks with these solutions. Only use that or do the entire end-to-end process. The third aspect is also in terms of consent. As you all know, you need to get the consent, and GDPR-wise, it's also very important, that even more now. So you need to get the electronic signatures also implemented in your entire process. And then at the end, there's also storage. I'm not sure that a bank is actually having to spend a lot of money to store the data. They can they can rely on external providers. Some of them are mentioned here that we rely on. So basically, it's providing these blocks, these components to a bank, to a financial institution in a compliant way. I was mentioning that once you have your client, you still have to do updates and check whether this client is still valid in terms of the information that you have on it, the assessment, the risk assessment that you have to run. So there, same thing, it targets corporates and individuals, and well, basically you see the bricks, the same names, the same bricks, but in a different way, and using the messaging part will help you engage with the end users or the corporates to collect the data. If we look at payments, we mentioned just before PSD2, we see it more as indeed something that a financial institution has to comply with, but also it's quite complex in terms of impact. It's not just about IT, it's also about the compliance, it's also about implementing a solution. So to make sure that the bank can just focus on their core business, we get together different players. So for instance, KPMG will just do the gap analysis, and analyze the impact of PSD2 for a bank, irrespective of the size of the bank, if they're in the scope or not, they will do this part of the job. Then Clearstream providing the hosting environment, and indeed being a PFS, it helps a lot to make sure that the CSSF approve this, and we providing the technical solution and making sure that it's effortless to implement. And it's also opening to the future, because we've already set up a partnership with Figo, which already has loads of TPPs connected. They're doing connection to access to account through screen scraping mainly, and they're going to convert to PSD2. But they already have loads of TPP, so it's already ready to use there. Messaging, I mentioned it, it's basically helping financial institutions just engage with corporates or individuals for critical messages, OTPs, and also direct marketing. Why should you actually outsource? I think that was being mentioned during several of the keynotes and interventions. You cannot be specific and develop in-house each and every component. That's not possible. A bank cannot have the critical size to do everything. So you can rely on partners to do so, and once more, it's the same thing. Everyone is not good at everything. They're good at specific things. So if we look at that, the important part is then to make sure that you have a one-stop shop through the FinTech Acceleration Platform. We run the due diligence on the partners. It's made easy to consume these APIs. I think also one aspect which is key, you have to be aligned with the strategy of whom you're working with, who you're outsourcing your products to, your RegTech products. If it's another bank, then you have to make sure that you're aligned with their strategy regarding the future, because if you're not, then you'll be hooked in, and it might become a bit critical in the future. So we're fully neutral and independent when it comes to the shareholding. Making sure, as I said, this is key, that everything is aligned with the regulation, and we mentioned several of them. And finally, operations is key.